welcome back. It's been around about probably about 2 or going into the 3rd weekend since I've posted, so it's around about sort of 6 odd working days. I'm currently working sort of Saturday and Sunday on the plane at the moment. A couple of odd days here and there on a public holiday or a time in lieu. It's been a few weeks since I've posted, so I didn't want to sort of give everyone the same old all the time, so I just thought I'd hold off till I hit a bit of a milestone, and that milestone is 300 hours in. So this one's just dedicated to what 300 hours gives you in build time. It's if you may recall, at the very beginning of this video series, I spoke about most people take between 800 to 1,000 hours. I'm not going to turn around and say that 300 hours gives me, a third of the way through or a quarter of the way through. I'm just going to use it as a, here I'm at 300 hours. This is what 300 hours of build time gives you. Not just build time, but thinking ahead to instruments and thinking ahead to seat belts, thinking ahead to, seats, propellers, engines, all those sorts of things, of which they will be separate, little intro videos as well. So let's just whip the old camera around and we'll start at the forward section of the fuselage. I've just got the roller shutter down at the moment because the sun is just, as you'll see over in that door over there, it's just starting to go over the horizon, go behind the trees, and once that sun goes down, it's going to get damn cold down here. I'm still in a t-shirt, but anyway, progressing. Just starting here, I have, if you recall, left the rivets out on this section, top and bottom, so I can peel the skins back and get into places like this, should I need to, when I'm joining the two fuselage halves together. In particular these, because none of these have got, AN bolt size through them, and a couple of AN bolts down the bottom here. So I've opted to do that. Others haven't. That's the way that I'm doing it. And we'll just start with the little control horn. You may recall I spoke about eventually putting the flap actuator in, and the control horn, control mechanism horn, whatever you want to call it, is in situ. Now, Gavin, when he did his, he had a lot of trouble. I think with the first instance, his was sort of down here, you might recall, or even a bit further than that Cleco's in the road. And they sent him out a replacement clippy things, so same actuator I believe, so clips, and then it sort of brought it back to here. When I've positioned my actuator in situ, bearing in mind that it goes, the brackets that they gave me fit to the underside of this, and if I recall, I think it might have been the same as Gavin's first one, and then they gave him something that fitted onto the aft side of that cross tie box. On my drawings it actually shows those ones there, but an update off the Sonex website gave me the newer drawings, revision E's I think they were, and the brackets then go back onto the underside again. My flap drive horn, or whatever you want to call it, is around about there somewhere. I sent that picture to Kerry from Sonex. He wasn't concerned about it. It's okay. I believe there's a little bit of play in the actual, whether it goes, the actual, when the wing goes through, the wing section goes through and the flap eventually goes to here. I can't remember if it goes from this to here, probably down below, because the control horn from the flap will be on the lower side, so I'd suggest it's probably like that. There's probably a little bit of adjustment in that, and that would be, enough for that to be in that position in lieu of being it more horizontal like Gavin's is. Going around the other side, Gavin also had a mention that if you follow the drawings, I've got to watch out for my ride on here, it's right behind me. If you follow the drawings and do that hole as per what it says on the plans, it'll be wrong. So I drilled it still and then just elongated that hole on that side. That's why it's sort of a little bit sort of aft of that hole. It doesn't look too symmetrical, but hey, that's the way it is. You do recall too, I had some issues with this curved section flopping out a little bit. It ended up sort of pulling in a little bit after I've riveted it all, so that I'm happy with. It seems okay. Just going around to this side. All of the bolts are in here. I've got, obviously these have bolts. They're like a screwed head. I can't remember the actual name of these, AN525s or something like that, dash 30s or 20s, whatever they are, or 10s. They go through. They're like a Phillips head type of a screw, or a hex head. You might be called in the States a hex head. We call them Phillips heads over here. That I can get to this side, but I can't get to the one on that side, hence all of this being left off just at the moment. I'm going to be leaving all of these Z's loose, so I can, when the two surfaces join together, I'm going to be able to pull these off, deburr all the sides again, and then I'll end up riveting all of this. I'll just sort of work my way forward with it. There's a lot of work to go on this yet. The underside of the skin hasn't been drilled through here. There's some brackets to go on here, I believe, for the seat pan, but I am progressing. On this section here, you'll have a bit of a look. I think the normal Sonex B model has a phenolic plate or a phenolic block, not plate, that goes into here for your rudder cables to go through. This one is different. It has because this is the Waiex, it has a pulley in here. You'll actually see I've left those two rivets out. That's got nothing to rivet into. This must be a generic part for both models, whether it's used for something else in the other model, I'm not unsure. But I wasn't going to put that rivet in, it's too close to the edge, so I've just thrown a rivet in there. And there, it might not look too symmetrical to you guys, but hey, it is what it is, and I think that's okay. I did that both sides. Okay, working back, everything is riveted through to here, and the bit that I'm most happy about with this 300 hours in is that I now have the Y-tail fitted. That is a task and a half in itself, I kid you not. I've probably had this Y-tail on and off 6 times, and I'm not exaggerating when I say 6. I know when I exaggerate I say 4 million or something like that, but that's an actual number. I reckon it's been 6. The reason being is that when you fit it, there's a distance of a gap around here that Sonex call for about a 1.5 millimeter gap all the way around, and I believe it's probably just to give you some clearance, maybe for flexing of the structure, I don't know. So what I happened to do was that I started off sort of here, obviously, because this was further apart, so I needed to get it closer together as best I can. I just scribed it as best I could, just following a little sort of about a 1 mil packer around here with a fine tipped felt pen. Took it all off again, cut it, brought it back, and did that 6 times. And I have to do it one last time. Looking under here, you'll actually see it. This is probably it's pretty good just up here. It's a little bit more to be trimming here. You'll see a mark I've got here. It's not the straightest of lines, but by the time I sort of file it all straight, it should be okay. That side, you'll see another mark on there as well. Now, I've done the construction order a little bit different in this, as you will recall. Back in my Chapter 2 series, I spoke about why I stopped riveting this skin. That still sort of makes some sense to me, because I think the way Sonex are attempting for you to do all this is if you construct all of this spar without the rivets in it, so just the tail post spar through here, this Y-tail, and just put it in situ with all of its bolts, you could probably rivet all of this off and bolt all this off, never have to get back in here again. And the only time you can probably get back in here again is if you needed to get, basically, if you didn't put the skin on, which I think there's an option on the drawings as well that says you don't have at this stage put the underside skin on or not. So I've elected not to put the skin on, But I've done it this way. So just to sort of go back again in case you've lost track of me, because I'm very easily sort of confusing for everybody when I yap, is that if you follow that, then you would build these two stabilators, as it says on the drawings, riveting only. If you recall, there was just the leading edge areas were riveted. The underside had a whole bunch of rivets left off, just to peel the old skin down, I believe, so you can view these rivets when you put it all together. Perhaps that's their intent. I'm happy with the way that I've done it. It is not hard to take this on and off. It's time consuming, it's awkward, but the way that I do it, you'll see a mark on here. So when I eventually go to rivet this, whether I rivet it in situ where it is now or I do it on the workbench, I will only rivet to this line. That way I can pull this skin down and subsequently then pull this skin back. I only need to do it on one side so I can get to all of the bolts, the AN bolts through here. The tail post, when it goes through the back of the rib here, that tail post goes through. There's 4 bolts in the back of that. There's 2, 4, 6 bolts in here yet to be put in, and the 2 AN4 bolts, which are a 1/4 inch bolt either side of this angled assembly where it ties back into the hockey sticks. Now, just to make one point as well, bending these hockey sticks, if you're slightly out in the angle and slightly under or over bent them, these little angles should take up that slack. Now these were just slightly out. By the time I sort of got them even in with the clecos, it has brought it all back together. So if I'm making any sense, what this means is that, you know, prior to just drilling these two 332 pilot holes in on this end bracket here, it's really hard to see. There's a couple in the end here where the AN4 bolts go through. I had all this tightened off, so it wasn't sort of going to be, you know, adjusting any of this plate here at the end of the day, if that makes sense. I then got myself a 6-inch drill bit. It fits down there beautifully, able to do that hole and that hole. Now I know in the 1 week Wonder Sonex, to me they were drilling all of this in situ like this. It seems like a lot of work to me. I can actually do all these bolts, excluding those 2 and those 2, completely finish all of this off on the workbench. I'll just rip around and I'll just show you what I mean. There's these stupid chooks again, look at them. These little these little solid pieces here, and I'll just bring up a drawing. Excuse my workbench, it's an absolute mess. I think I'll quickly just go through here. He says as he fumbles his way through drawings. I'll just stop this a second and I'll look for it. Okay, I've got it back. Okay, so this aft section, this is looking, I was just pointing at the moment. There's the 2 AN4 bolts through AN4 17 bolts are just through here and here, and all of the rest are AN3 bolts. So I can actually put all these in situ off on the workbench. I can technically put those 2 through, which I've already drilled the holes through. This one is another story, and I'll tell you in a second. That's why I've got the Mark BB. That's the little bit of an angle there that when it goes back into the angle here, I can do all those on the workbench and then simply have this piloted through for the last AN4 bolt and do all of this upsizing in situ once it's up there, which doesn't interfere with the riveting off of the skins, whether they're clecoed or not. It doesn't really matter, and I believe that's going to work for me. There's a little cross section of it there, you'll see it. Bolts to get through there. I mean, to get your hand in there and do that, it's got to be a you know, you're only talking sort of an inch and a half gap between there and there. How the hell would you get down there and put shifters in and God knows what? So it's the workbench for me. Now the story behind this little bloke here is that when I put it in, stupidly, I was drilling it on the workbench over there. I broke a drill bit in it. There it is, right there, and you can't get them out. Once that's infused in it, like it's all infused, I wonder if that's the right word. Once it's melted, all the aluminium's melted around that drill bit, and ain't going anywhere. And you can't drill a drill bit out. The drill will wander. So I flipped it over and I did it on the other side just to get it all seated and done. I've actually purchased some more of these from Sonex. You know what? I think they were about $6 or $7 or something. It was ridiculous. It was so cheap. I looked online here the other day and I can't get them in Australia anywhere. I'd much rather just, you know, pay the $20 freight what it's going to cost me to get them over and make sure I put the correct product in. Okay, so moving aft again. I have just to reiterate, I've got one more of this to go together, and then one more of the trimming, and we'll go. Then it's done. It's done. It's all finished. Tail post is in. I've done the little. Where is he? It's down here. He is down there. So you'll actually see. I've drilled that titanium gear leg out. Oh, it fits in there beautifully. So if you want to know what tail wheel looks like on a Sonex Waiex, that's what it looks like. Had the rudder fitted as well. I can't push that all the way in at the moment because I've got the clecos in spot, but I've had it all in there working. It fits. And to top off the 300-hour mark, I have also completed, which whether you've this right on, isn't it? It's such a bad spot, isn't it? But I've got motorbikes and all sorts of things here. I'm running out of room. Need a bigger shed. I've also completed the two ruddervators. Sorry, the two ruddervators. Yes, ruddervators. They are the two ruddervators are done as well and have been fitted to the fuselage or the stabilators. So I'm happy with what I've done at the moment. You'll see those two little blue marks on there again. I have basically left that so I can pull the skins back should it be required. So that's it, I think. Update. I have purchased, for those that are, at this stage too, I believe you've got to start thinking about not necessarily the engine like I spoke to you a moment ago, but yet I have ordered the engine, ordered the prop, and I've also ordered the upholstery kit for this plane. I don't really need heated seats in Australia. It doesn't get that cold over here, but I've bought them anyway. I thought it was better to spend the $300-400 more because you're getting leather seats in lieu of just a vinyl lookalike or something like that. You know, if you're going to spend $40,000 on or a $50,000 on a kit, well, what's another $1,500 is not going to break the bank on seats, just, you know. So that's me. I've got the Aero V Turbo coming, cruise prop, spinner and the like, so that's going to be a video on itself. It's leaving, I think, the States on around about 4 weeks from now. I'll do an unpacking on that. I've also, I believe people should be thinking about the seat belts in this as well. I've ordered actually ordered and received the seat belts. I might do a little bit on that as well coming up. And the piece de resistance is that I have received all my engine instruments for the kit, except for the transponder and the, what am I talking to you like that for? I'm just, sorry. I've received the all the instruments except for the transponder and the VHF. I think it's called a head unit. You can actually do off a glass panel. You can actually use and dial in radio frequencies for nav, as well as obviously VOR and the like. But ILS, you having a secondary unit on the dash is what I've chosen to do. That is yet to come as well. I have got all MGL instruments for those that are interested. I will be doing a showing on that as well. I'm doing a full glass cockpit on this, so 2 IFS displays, and I've got, I think they're 8.5 inch, can't remember. I've got the maximum size you can get for this aeroplane. Obviously redundancy built in there, so one dies, you've got a secondary one there. Anyway, waffling on. I'm 300 hours in. For those that are interested in the Sonex aeroplane, I do hope you enjoyed this, and there's a few of them out there. As I've mentioned Gavin a number of times. I seem to always go back to Gavin's videos. He's doing a great job, and I wish him well, which I don't think he needs it, and I will talk with you all soon.